But that's been drilled and that's raced across the turf.
He wants to access deep mid-wicket with the spin. Instead, he opens up the offside, knowing that he's going to try and drag him to that deep point fielder.
Standing quite wide. That's been swung away. Good effort. Good work there by Tilak Verma. Over extra cover, and this too will find the boundary. He's again.
Yeah, one more frame. Yeah, you can freeze it here, director. The glove was not fully behind. Satisfied. I'm ready for the decision.
It'll be called a no ball. No. He launches into it. Akshay Patel was not happy. Gutsy there.
And the big show deliver here.
Yard. And Ishan Kishan misses it. Going. And Prasid Krishna, it will be to bowl the...
Nothing underneath it.
Swung away. And that's gone for 4.
Well, there you go. Delivery. In.
A slower one, right in the middle of the pitch. Goes slow, but doesn't carry. The fielder was exactly in that position.
Very good.
Goes extra cover and it sails over Rinku's head. 3 balls.
Mac and just slices that over deep point. Rinku Singh initially thought sailed over his head, deep into the crowd. That's masterclass in use of the wrist. Want it.
Plays at it again. And again, no chance for the man at the... So 6 required of 2 now. And Maxwell has turned it on. Was it over the waist? He gets 100 and it's a 47 ball 100. Equals Josh Inglis. Just hundreds for Australia.
87, 40 balls. They both contributed.
Chatter around the bowler, Ishan Kishan, that crucial over. One delivery ended up going for delivery. And he's gone straight and finished it off in style. What a century this, and Maxwell. Record equaling 4th 100 in T20 internationals. Tying, very importantly, kept Australia in the series. What a run chase this has been. 22 runs of the final ball of the 20th over. Once again, the big show. And
I saw the most horrific thing a father could ever do to his son. This is a true story. I used to work as a bus driver for a private company. We had one route that went through several small towns and villages. It was an amazing route, because it was so scenic and the pay was good. There were hardly any complaints, and the passengers were great, so I loved driving that route. One day while driving, I picked up this little boy. He was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and he was very well dressed. He told me his name was Billie Eilish, and he was going to spend the weekend with his dad in a nearby village. His mum must have dropped him off at the previous stop, because she worked in a hospital in that village. Well, we chatted for a bit until we got to his stop. At first, when I opened the door for him, he hesitated. Then he looked back at me and said, "Thank you for the lovely conversation." And just like that, he hopped out of the bus and skipped down the road waving at me. I waved back and then I drove off. About 15 minutes later, I arrived at the next stop. And guess who was waiting there? You guessed it. That little boy. He was standing by the side of the road with his thumb out. I stopped and asked him where his parents were, and why he was alone. The boy looked at me with total innocence and said, "I missed the bus." I told him that wasn't possible because I had just dropped him off, but he insisted that he needed to get to the next village. Now, I wasn't about to drive him around all day, so I told him we'll go together. But if he wasn't sure where his parents were, I would take him to the police station. Well, he agreed to that. On the way to the police station, I asked him again what his parents' names were and where they lived. That's when he finally told me his dad's name was John Smith, and his dad lived in the last house in the village. Of course, I knew that bus route like the back of my hand, so I knew exactly where that house was. Upon arriving at the house, I knocked on the door, and before I could even ask if anyone was home, the door swung open, and out came this big, burly man. I mean, he looked like he'd just stepped out of a boxing ring. I could tell immediately that he was drunk. He reeked of alcohol. When he saw the boy standing there all alone, his face turned pale. He looked at me and yelled, "What did you do? Are you trying to kidnap my son?" I responded, "I found your son standing by the road. He said he needed to get to you, but I didn't want him walking around all alone, so I brought him here." Well, he looked at me for a moment, then turned to Billy and screamed at him, "Why aren't you at your mother's? Why are you here?" Billy just stood there looking at his dad with tears in his eyes. That's when something inside of me snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. I got out of my car and walked over to that boy. I knelt down to his level and asked him if he was okay. Then I told him to run to the neighbor's house and get their phone and call his mom. In the meantime, I turned back to that monster and I told him in no uncertain terms that he needs to sober up right now. He looked at me and started yelling, but I just ignored him and kept telling him to calm down. Eventually, that man did calm down and he called his wife. When she arrived, I told her what had happened. She was furious at her husband, and then she took Billy inside. After they had gone inside, I confronted the man again and I told him he needs to get some help. He just looked at me and said, "I can't control it." Well, that just made me more angry. I told him he'd better control himself, or someone might get hurt. Then I got into my car and I drove off. To this day, I still wonder what happened to that little boy. I really hope that child is in a better place now, and that monster of a father got the help he needs.